love the colour palette, Nathaniel.
Oh, do you know what? I've just realised I'm wearing mustard that matches this behind me.
It matches everything. The lamp.
I'm blending in with my room. Yeah.
Lovely.
And I've got a chair in my bedroom, so I'm going to sit on the floor.
Oh, a bit. Just class it as exercise.
Well, look, no, because so I have a standing desk, so I do everything stood up. I've been stood up all day, so now I need to sit down.
Oh, what? So you just stand there like for hours on end?
Well, no, for hours on end. It's good because it makes you work faster.
That's true.
And then when you go and have a break, you go and sit down, you see, and then you have a nice cup of coffee and sit down.
It's not good to just be sat down all the time, is it? I've got a lovely little bouncy chair.
Yeah. Oh, that's quite nice. You could sit on one of those like exercise balls. That'd be good for you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like a yoga ball.
Yeah.
So how are you? I've not seen you for ages.
I know. When I last saw you at the Vogue Ball.
Yes.
Briefly waved to you. Yeah, I'm all right. Just kind of. I think I put a tweet out just now that was like, today has mostly been sponsored by like grief-riddled, anxiety-ridden, crisis-addled, like existential crisis. It's just like, yeah.
It's bizarre, isn't it?
It's just a very, very strange situation we're all in at the moment. And keep having these moments where, like, because I work from home most of the time anyway, unless I'm out delivering projects, it's like, it feels like business as usual. And then I'm like, and then all of a sudden something will remind me that it isn't.
What's your current lockdown situation then? Have you been in lockdown since commanded to, or have you been in a bit earlier than that?
No, I was, I was sort of socially distancing already for the first week. But then when they said that, these measures were being implemented, then officially, really properly since then. But I live with my parents.
Yeah.
So I'm living with my mum and my dad at the moment, and my two dogs. So it's nice, and they have a nice big garden. So I'm very, very blessed in that sense that I've got some outdoor space.
I was laughing my head off at it was a while ago now, your story that you did about that woman in the shop.
Oh my God. That was just before lockdown. That was like, but when we knew, like, yeah, oh my words. I mean, I think she was panicking. I think she was panicking about being outside. And I was like, but you're just making your whole situation worse here. Like, but it's really interesting, isn't it? Like, I was in another shop the other day, and everyone's still, the measures are in place, and 2 meters queuing outside, and then when you get in, and then the aisles aren't that wide, so you wait in your little box. Little old dear in front of me I'm not joking, she took about 5 minutes to choose which sausages she wanted, and but I was like, you know what, we're in a crisis. I'm not in a rush. I'm not going to
wait. I've not been to the shop yet. So you just have to wait until they
wait. Yeah. So there's marks on the floor, so you wait in that box, and then when that person then moves on, you can move into that next box. But like, you adhering to that, but then two people, there was like someone behind me and then another person. So there's about three people behind me. So I was going to turn around and go back down the aisle and go down another aisle, but then I was stuck because these are the two people. And then someone just walked in and just walked straight up the aisle. And I was like, right, what's the point? Literally, what is the point? We're all adhering to these guidelines, and you just waltz across, and I was just like, giving me strength, because
you still get these people. These people aren't just disappearing. I went for a walk near my house to a place where I've lived there all my life, and I've never been to this park before. But there was a bit where we were walking down. Me and Chloe were walking down this sort of like wooden little path thing. And these two, this old couple came towards us, but it was that narrow that we couldn't like pass them. It was just like swamp inside of us. So, like, we're gonna have to like jump in. Like, they're elderly, we can't go near them. Chloe was like, no. We're gonna have to like weirdly sort of just stand like this as these people just walk behind us. And what I try and do is make a joke out of stuff like that, but they weren't having none of it. They sprinted off.
They weren't impressed.
Oh God!
It is frustrating, because the the sort of coronavirus has sort of impacted my family already. Not directly. So my grandfather died last week. It wasn't COVID-19, but he was in hospital and we couldn't go to see him. He was in hospital for a week before he died, and none of us were able to see him because the hospitals are in lockdown. And then, a friend's nan has been admitted with coronavirus and won't be given a ventilator because of her age. So is essentially probably dying in hospital, and no one can go and see it. And I think for some people, it hasn't quite reached their social network yet, so it's not real. And I think, psychologists say it's like cognitive dissonance, like they're not making a connection between the seriousness of what's going on because it's not impacted their life yet. And so there's sort of this denial phase that some people are still in. Whereas some of us have got to that point where we're not in denial anymore and we understand the seriousness of it. And so I'm trying to practice like being good natured towards those people, because when it hits them, they'll understand. But also that's really hard when like people are out sunbathing and you're like, seriously, go home.
There's such a, like, I know people who have put on Facebook, like, they just like a bit of rebellion. They just like to go against the government. And it's so beyond that. But that, like you're saying, is, it's like one of the worst nightmares. Like, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, it's just not being able to function as normal, especially at times of need and times where families just do come together. It's really, I think, until, like you say, until you've sort of been through that or close to you, people don't click.
But also that idea that it's just sort of business as usual, and like we should all be carrying on and feeling guilty if we're not. And it's not business as usual, and it's none of us in this country have experienced anything like this before. And someone, I can't remember what they said exactly, but I'd seen it on social media that was like, you're not working from home. You are you're at home because of a crisis and you're trying to work through it. Like, it's really important to be kind, because actually you're not going to be as productive. I mean, for me, and for people that work from home a lot, we're used to that flow of working from home. But if you've never worked from home before and you've just been sent home and your companies expect you to try and work, it's really unfair to think that that's just going to happen straight away.
And I think that as well, it's like what we've learned as well is that everyone is so different in their situation and their way of living. Like, I was speaking to some people who, I don't know, I was on a project I'm working on and they are at home, but it's difficult for them to just be on Zoom on a conversation or to be speaking on video call because they're looking after like their younger sibling or their children. And it's like, that's another thing where we go, well, we can work with this because of course we've got the technology now and we can get on with it. But then it's like, that's not considering other people's situations, and it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, my mum keeps bursting in when I'm on Zoom meeting, and so I closed the door now. She came into this. You've got a parcel. I was like, you've got a parcel. I was like, put it on there, and then she tried to tell me something about the parcel, and I was like, you're not getting this. I'm in a meeting. So it's like role reversal, because it should be kids bursting in like that, but I've got my mother doing it.
How many dogs have you got? 2 dogs.
I've got 2 dogs. Yeah.
And is that because more than any time in my life have I wanted a dog? Like, I've just loved to have a pet at this time.
Oh yeah, they're a lifesaver. They are a lifesaver. So it's nice because dogs. One of the reasons why I had got a dog in the first place is to give a sense of routine and purpose. Because I've in the past suffered really bad from anxiety and depression. So actually having a dog, like, it gets you up out of bed in the morning. It gives you a routine, and also being self-employed, it can be difficult to have a routine. So they sort of give that little purpose, and they get you up in the morning.
Really interesting. I've never thought of it that way. That's really interesting. Because I've always seen it like a dog as more of like a burden that would be like stopping me from getting a dog.
That's a child, not a dog.
Well, stopping me from getting a dog would be like, oh, but what happens if I get this random job where I'm away, or if I'm doing this and I won't be able to look after it? But one thing that I'm totally lacking in is sort of routine.
There you go.
But thinking of it in that way, I think, that's just another case for getting a dog.
Yeah, get a dog, because they always need to go out for a poo. So if you're wallowing in your own self-pity or depression in bed, you're going to have to get up at some point. And my dogs are small enough. I've got a Shih Tzu and a Yorkshire Terrier crossed with a Shih Tzu, a Shorkie, and they're small enough so they sleep on the end of my bed. And yeah, they're great. They need a haircut though, and I don't know what I'm going to do because Fred, honestly, he's like a cloud. He's just like this fluff ball wandering around. And I don't trust. I've only got human clippers. I've not got dog clippers, and I've cut around their eyes a little bit. But I think by the end of this, there's just going to be nothing left.
It's like
just going to be this. Honestly, it just keeps growing and growing, and I'm like, mate, you're going to have to stop because I can't get you cut at the moment.
Well, I was thinking this about haircut in general. Like, I need to get my haircut. I need to go. That was on my list before all of this, but then. Now I think I'm just gonna embrace it and just grow my hair out.
Grow it out. There's two options, isn't there? Really, I think we're gonna have lots of like 70s style dudes and lots of shaved heads at the end of this.
Yeah. What how have your projects, and I know you're always involved with several different plates that you spin in. What has sort of gone on creatively now with how you're working? Have things adapted digitally straight away, or have you paused a few things?
No, so 100% of my work disappeared overnight. Just 100%. Well, not necessarily the work, but the income. And so that was a big adjustment. I was really fortunate that I'd just done a couple of big jobs prior to this. So financially, I was I'm okay. And so I didn't have that initial panic that everyone obviously had a couple of weeks ago when all the theatres closed, rightly so, and the industry kind of ground to a halt. I was sort of like, no, I think I'll be all right for a couple of months. But now those reserves are starting to drain away, and I'm going, okay, I'm not necessarily going to be. I've applied for universal credit, like lots of us have, still on the waiting list for someone to get back to me because nearly 1 million people have signed up. And then I think, I'm eligible for. Well, I know I am eligible for the self-employed scheme that's coming in, but that's not coming in until June.
Exactly.
And I'm very back paid, but that doesn't help in the interim, really, does it? If you're struggling for money. And I think I've been quite openly critical and vocal about the response for artists because I think it's been relatively poor. The Arts Council have announced an amazing package, and it is brilliant that they've done it so quickly and turned it around. And we will be applying. So my theatre company, Debbie Theatre, will be applying as an organisation for that, for the loss of income that we're facing over the coming months. But I got really frustrated with lots of small. I know organisations were doing the best because we were all just going, "What the hell's going on?" And they wanted to try and support artists in the best way possible. But all the commissions that I was. Yeah, exactly. But all the commissions I was seeing were like either responding to the crisis, which I think is a little bit unethical to ask artists to do that without any support, to ask people to respond to trauma.
And while they're in it as well, if there's anything they're making, it's that they never advise to reflect on something so traumatic and big while you're still in it. And
exactly,
that's what we're asking a lot of people to do.
And then I think lots of other commissions were like, "Oh, just go digital. We want to see everything digital. Put everything online." And I'm like, "That's great, and I'm really up for it." And if this crisis continues for months rather than weeks, which potentially it might do, I'm here for that. Let's have that conversation. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But I'm not a digital artist. I'm a theatre maker. Like, I can do a Zoom call, but do you know what I mean? I don't know how to engage an audience digitally or build a profile. There's whole companies and consultants that do that. Social media brand consultants and all sorts. It's unfair to all of a sudden ask, like a ballet dancer or a potter or a musician to just go digital or send us your digital ideas. And it's like, I understand that you want to try and get money in our pockets, and that's great. But no one is asking, their hairdresser to find digital ways to cut hair. Yeah. Or ask their bin collector to sort of do it via social media.
Yeah.
It's like I've started a quarantine story on my Instagram stories. So if anyone wants to check in with how I'm getting on through quarantine, there's some laughs on there and some serious stuff as well.
I would recommend that. It's been keeping me entertained anyway. Have you been on a walk today or? Have you had your
I've not had my
daily
approved
exercise?
exercise today. No, I had a bit of a lazy morning, and because the dogs can go out in the garden, I do normally take them out twice a day. Shh, don't tell anyone. I only go around the block though.
Well, I've done the Joe Wicks workout yesterday, and I mean, I thought it was easy. I thought it was for kids, and I cannot walk
No.
down the stairs now. I had to walk down the stairs like sideways. Nearly did Mary Poppins. Oh.
Honestly, right? I've never seen as many joggers as I've seen outside my window in the last 2 weeks. There's so many people have taken up jogging. I'm like, you did not jog before this. Don't try and kid anyone on Instagram. Look at me getting my 1 hour approved exercise. You didn't do it 2 weeks ago, did you? You were inside scoffing biscuits and cakes, and now you're kicking off that you can't go outside and trying to go outside because we're so like children, aren't we? Adults are just children with responsibilities, with bills to pay. Because like as soon as someone tells them they can't do something, they're all out bloody doing it.